Plaintiff Michael Scott says one night this past summer, the defendant's son, whom Michael had never met, stole his van. Michael followed the defendant's son in his car, and after he crashed Michael's van into a light pole, he ran from the police. Michael's suing for the damages. Defendants Jason Hart and his wife Jill don't dispute that their son stole Michael's van and crashed it, but they claim it's because he has a serious drinking problem. On the night of the incident, their son had consumed nearly a half-gallon of vodka, and he's currently seeking treatment for his addiction.
All right, let me hear what happened.
Well, on July 14th, on the night of July 14th, Mr. and Mrs. Hart's son, Josh, stole my van. I was in bed already at night at 1 o'clock in the morning, and my wife was just coming to bed, and she heard the car door of the van open and close, and she seen the light on. She looked out front and saw that some young man was in my van, so she woke me up, and I got out of bed and threw on my pants and my shirt and went down, grabbed my car keys, ran out, hopped in the truck, and by then the van had already gone. My wife had woken my son up, and my son called the police where we live. And we live in a neighborhood where there's a series of cul-de-sacs like clover leaves together, and there's only 2 exits to the neighborhood. So I went to the front exit and looked to the right and looked to the left and didn't see my van driving away. So I went around and went back to the other end of the cul-de-sac, and here comes my van with this young man driving just around in it, and I could see oil coming out from underneath it. And
what do you think happened that caused the oil to come out?
Apparently he drove over the top of a curb in one of the other cul-de-sacs and hit something and ripped the hole in the oil pan.
How old was he?
Our son was 16 at the time.
All right, 16, he can't drive. Go ahead.
No, he was driving good.
Okay.
And so I started following him, and then he turned left and headed right back by my house again. And as he was going around, we're in a cul-de-sac, as he was going around the cul-de-sac.
He was headed back to your house.
The genius went right back to my house.
He was going to get a car in better condition.
Right. Well,
all right. He said, let me go back and steal their better car.
Right. There was a Mustang GT sitting in the driveway, which confused me why he would take a 16-year-old would take a van rather than a Mustang GT. But he drove a van and went right back by the house. My son was outside at that point, come running out, and he ran across and tried to get the van door open and get him out of the car. And he had the van door locked.
It was stopped?
No, he kept going, but he was going real slow.
And your son grabbed a moving van.
Grabbed a
van
moving
that
van.
was in motion.
In motion. He tried to get to the van. He couldn't get the van open. So the boy had taken off, and I'd come around the cul-de-sac and pick my son up. And at that point, there's a bunch of curves, and at the one section of the curb, the Maumee police had the road blocked off, and he jumped up over the curb, went through the lawns, went around them, and went to the other end of the addition where there's another cul-de-sac. And at that time, the Maumee police pulled 4 cars up and blocked off the road, and I backed the truck up into a driveway because he turned with the van and he was heading at a high rate of speed, this point heading right towards the Maumee police. And here's the Maumee police all standing outside their cars, and it was like being on the TV show Cops. And he jumped up over the curb. He drove around the police cars, turned left, and hit a telephone pole head on.
Wow.
And
was he injured, do you know?
He was able to jump out of the van and run away. So as he was running, the police caught him probably no more than 25 yards from the van.
All right, you all want to respond?
We can't dispute any of the facts of that, what the account he gave. However, I would like to give you a little background about our son. He was 16 at the time. He's had some issues in the past. His behavior's been difficult to deal with for quite a few years.
What type of behavior?
He's been unruly. I mean, he was diagnosed a few years ago with ADHD and OED and depression. So he's been
medicated?
Yes, sir.
All right.
What we found out that he had been starting to drink alcohol without our knowledge.
That mixed with the medication.
Right. And So, we didn't sit by and just let this happen. Once we had found out what had been going on, got all the alcohol out of the house, we notified his doctor and his counselors and his psychologists and stuff like that. And they tried to put a few things in the works, but it never came together. As this behavior got worse, we tried keeping an eye on him. My wife, she hasn't worked in quite a while. Her full-time job has been keeping an eye on Josh, so it's not like he's been unsupervised. He got so unruly a few times. He got the alcohol from wherever, it wasn't in our house. And we actually called the police to our house a few times. He was taken to the hospital once because they won't put him in juvenile detention when they're intoxicated. So we spent some time there. And then we were put up against the wall with trying to get him treatment that our insurance wouldn't cover, getting everything in place, that we finally decided to go ahead and press charges against our own son. So we did, press unruly and
What had been the circumstance that evening that he was able to get out at 1 a.m.?
Well, he had, at this time, he had already gotten in some trouble from when he drank some alcohol. Okay, he had been through the juvenile court system. He was on probation. He was, being supervised. We had to go to treatment court every Wednesday. He had to do random drops. We thought he was doing pretty good, and he had gotten a hold of a bottle of vodka. And that particular night, actually, it was a good day, which was weird. He had been drinking after everybody went to bed. My wife heard something and went into his room, caught him with the bottle, and he bolted. You
did catch him, and he just ran.
Right.
What happened then? What did you guys do?
We called the police right away to let him know that our son, had taken off. She took off in the car after him, looking for him. I stayed at the house with our other children, waiting to hear, if we heard anything or if she found him or anything. And then she had come home, couldn't find him, and then we got a call from the police.
But, Your Honor, I knew when I was out driving around, I saw the lights, and I came home and I told him, I don't know what he did, but it's him.
Yeah. I certainly sympathize with you guys very honestly. That's a tough situation to be in.
Thought he was doing pretty good, and he had gotten a hold of a bottle of vodka. And that particular night, actually, it was a good day, which was weird. He had been drinking after everybody went to bed. My wife heard something and went into his room, caught him with the bottle, and he bolted.
You did catch him, and he just ran.
Right.
Plaintiff Michael Scott claims the defendant's son stole his van and crashed it. And the defendants insist this only happened because their son is an alcoholic who had consumed a half-gallon of vodka.
Sounds like you're doing your best. Many parents, they don't take the precaution and go as far as you guys have. Some children don't need medicine. Some children don't have the same level of ADHD. So all they may need is therapy that Medicaid or their private insurance might allow. That's why you see privileged kids go to counseling, poor kids go to jail. Because these women, and sometimes men, but women for the most part, they don't know what to ask. They don't know the services to request. They don't even know what's out there. So I sympathize with you, and I guess I'm educating others, particularly those who don't have the means for private assistance. Just get a thorough understanding and do your own analysis. Go on the internet now. You don't even have to go to the library. Go on the internet and look it up. ADHD, medicine for ADHD, the studies for ADHD. So I'm trying to convey to a lot of folks who don't have resources to get an understanding of the health care regarding ADHD. Some need just counseling, some need medication. You had your hand up.
Actually, our son's medication had been changed several times. Different medications react with alcohol. The night in question, he had drank almost a half-gallon of vodka. His blood alcohol level was 0.2.
Close to 0.2.
Several hours later.
Is there any defense to paying for the damages?
Well, Mr. Scott had sent us a letter describing the damages. It's not that I want to dispute anything. It's just that we didn't have any proof of what the van looked like, the actual damages to it and all that. And he gave us 10 days to respond. There's no way, I work paycheck to paycheck like a lot of people. So, I responded with a letter, trying to explain the situation with our son and all that, and hopefully we could work out some type of payment plan or something. And then, of course, we got notified that we were being taken to court. So,
okay. You have the pictures and the estimates and all the other information that proves your claim?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Also,
wow.
He asked about why my son didn't take the other vehicle instead. But were the keys left in the other vehicle? Because I'm sure he would have.
All right, and so you're saying the keys were left in the van?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and were the keys not left in the van, your son wouldn't have done it, huh?
Well, we
What do you
can't say
think? He
that.
just kind of felt he had ESP that said there's a van with the keys in it.
No, sir, Your
And he
Honor.
ran out of the house and he just knew what it. So my point is, he wasn't negligent even if he left the keys in there because your son committed an intentional act.
We're not trying to excuse the
No.
behavior
Okay.
at all. We're just
Why
letting
did you leave the keys in there, sir?
Well, the keys are on the floor. We carry extra sets of keys with us because we're in and
Why
out of
would
the
you leave it
van
in
all
the-
day. Stupid act done. And if you'd see where I live,
Don't
I
they-
live in a quiet, nice little suburb. I live back in a cul-de-sac where I mean, honestly, the only
so they
crime
don't-
is
they don't have-
committed by Toledo people. They come in to maul me.
They don't have police there. Then
In maul me, we have lots of police.
why? They're wasting your money. You don't
No,
have
they're
crime.
not.
You don't have crime.
Because when they have
If you live in a cute little Tony suburb and you don't have crime, then why do you have the police? People kill me coming in here with that. No, there's no crime in my community. It's a nice neighborhood, and we're in this nice suburb. And I'm like, why do you have the police then? You're wasting your tax dollars. Tell them to send some of those police to Toledo.
I agree with you.
All right, now, so you really don't have a defense other than he demanded payment that at this point you can't afford to pay.
Correct.
Within a timely manner.
We have a letter here from my son that we would like to.
Okay, where's he
husband
today?
would.
He's in residential treatment.
Gotcha. All right,
He was
good.
in court ordered, and he's been there for quite a while.
Good.
75 days tomorrow.
Great. Great. That's why I applaud you guys. You really have done all you can from what I'm hearing. You've done all you can, and that's all you can do.
I live in a quiet, nice little suburb. I live back in a cul-de-sac where the only
So they
crime
don't-
is
they don't have-
committed by Toledo people.
They don't have police there. Then
In,
you're-
in Maumee, we have lots of police.
Why? They're wasting your money. You don't
No,
have
they're
crime.
not.
You don't have crime.
Because when they have
If you live in a cute little Tony suburb and you don't have crime, then why do you have the police?
Plaintiff Michael Scott claims the defendant's son stole his van and crashed it. And the defendants insist this only happened because their son is an alcoholic who had consumed a half-gallon of vodka.
Go ahead. What do you want to read?
It says, "Dear Mr. Scott, I am sorry for stealing your work van. I've caused you a lot of trouble you did not deserve. I know that I am very lucky not to have run anybody over. I know that I'm blessed to be alive. I truly believe it is a miracle. That incident made me realize how low my life had become because of my addiction and my choices. It made me realize that I needed help. I've learned that addiction is a disease and there is no cure. You can recover, though, and I plan on recovering. Recovery is a lifelong process, and as long as I live, I'm going to go to support groups, and I know that I can never, ever drink alcohol again. I cannot blame alcohol for what I've done because I chose to take the first drink knowing how alcohol affects me. I understand that there are consequences for my actions, and I must accept them. I apologize from the bottom of my heart for stealing and destroying your property. I wish that I could personally repay you, and I am sorry my parents have to pay for my bad decisions. What I am most sorry for is hurting the people that love me the most, my family."
All right, good. Glad he says that. Sir, I'm going to grant your judgment, $2,831. If it puts you in the financial bind, unfortunately, that's the case. Judgment for the plaintiff. Have a good day.
Just want to apologize and say we're
Yeah.
awfully
no
sorry.
hard feeling. We're all parents
Sorry.
here, and we understand. So,
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hope your son gets better.
Thank you.